So I'm going to talk about my gang stalking story. Around 2013, I started noticing vehicles, and when I would be on foot, and I would arrive to a place, a certain vehicle would stand out to me, and I have very good intuition, and I could tell with my vibes that it was I was being surveilled or watched by this vehicle or vehicles. Anyways, um, but really in 2015, that's when I really started noticing. Um, One day I went to a store. I thought earlier that morning when I woke up, I'm gonna go to the store around 5 p.m. in the evening. So I arrived there, and across the parking lot, there's a fence and there's another street, and I noticed a car. And same thing, I noticed the vibe. My intuition told me that they were there for me, you know. So I went into the store, took care of what I had to take care of, came out. As soon as I came out, this car left, letting me know, and that let me know they were there for me. This is called synchronizing. Anyways, um, I didn't know what it was called then, and then, but anyways, about a month or two later, I noticed the same thing. I had no data on my phone, so I went to McDonald's around 2 o'clock in the morning, stayed there for an hour, was on the internet. But before, I noticed an Asian woman and her boyfriend were in the parking lot a little ways down in a white Camry. So after I left, as soon as I got up, they synchronized with me. They backed up and then left at the same exact fucking time, and they were there around the same time I was. And I'm not gonna lie, both instances were creepy. You know, the first time with the guy with the car at the store, I was thinking about that 2 weeks later. I'm like, what was up with that car? It was just how they left and everything. It was just, I wasn't scared because I still went out and did everything, but it's still like creepy, like what was up with it, like, and I knew something told me they were not cops, because I'm not, I have a criminal history, but nothing real big. Anyways, um, and so years went by. I noticed it a little bit more, um, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it until I got my apartment 3 years ago, and then that's when I came across the topic of gang stalking. Um, so yeah, and then I was like, okay, that's what this. And I put two and two together because I went to a store a night or two before, and there was cars in the parking lot after they had closed in Home Depot, and someone said in the car, he knows who we are, and I was like, what the fuck, I don't know. And then that's when all this shit clicked together. Okay. And then when I put the pieces back, oh, okay, 7 years prior, that's what that's who those cars were, and that's who those people were. They were gang stalkers. And then that same week, I was sitting on a bench, like at these apartments, and a Tesla pulls up. Right about a minute right after I pulled up. I arrived there, and as soon as I left, they left again, synchronizing. They made a right turn, and they said something. I could hear something. They said something like threatening. I didn't pay any attention. I've been stabbed, had my legs run over by a bus, guns put on me. I mean, there's nothing left except to kill me. Anyways, and so yeah, um, same thing. I went to a store, stopped in the parking lot about a month or two later, sort out my backpack, and I noticed across the street, at this parking lot, there's a green BMW. Arrived right about a minute right after I arrived there, and as soon as I got up, get back on my bike, they back out. The BMW backs out and leaves. another creepy instance, like weird, And so I already knew what gang stalking was then, so I already know who they were. They were that they were there for me, and just to get my attention. They do this to get you a little, just to get your attention. They know exactly what to do to get your attention because they've been studying you. They've had your EEGs and been reading your thoughts before you've even known it. Because yeah, and I thought, even 10 years ago, I thought my thoughts were being read because I would notice sometimes I was living in an abandoned church, and every morning, you have the landscaping people that blow the weeds and blow the ground or whatever with their blower and everything. And I would notice as soon as I would get up and start moving, or maybe think of something, that their blower, they would stop. They would and start back up and forth with my movements and thoughts. I'm like, this is weird. These people know they know I'm in here and stuff like that. They know I'm squatting in here. And then one time I had a weird thought, or a bad thought came to my mind. I was sitting in a waiting area, waiting for an appointment. And as soon as I thought this thought, this guy turned around and looked at me with this face like what the hell? And so yeah, but I didn't have accurate proof, or I didn't really know for sure that my thoughts were being read. So anyways, when I found out about gang stalking about 2 weeks after that, because I was studying, I wanted to find out everything I could about it. About 2 weeks later, someone asked a question on Quora. I forgot the question, but I think it was relating to how do they know where you're at without a cell phone. The same thing, with this car 10 years ago when I went to the store. I'm like, I didn't even have a cell phone. I'm like, how the fuck do they know where I'm at and everything? And how do they know how do they know who I am, and and all this. And so anyways, this person asked a question, and then someone replied they use synthetic telepathy. I swear I almost fainted. Well, not really, but I wanted to. I'm like, so they know they can read your thoughts. And I'm like, whoa. So yeah. Anyways, weeks and months go by, and I started noticing my neighbor, who was my landlord, starting to respond to my thoughts and react to certain thoughts. And I was just like, because we would argue all the time, and I was like, someone has military grade tech, someone or I would say psychic lady and all this shit. Anyways, I'm like, someone's dealing with army tech, military tech, because that's what it is. Anyways, when I found out or heard about, when I read that on Quora about synthetic telepathy, I didn't think that I was on it then, because I didn't know anything about synthetic telepathy or remote neural monitoring. I just thought they were using drones to tracking and everything like that. Anyways, because there's drones up there you can't see, they're way up there. You can't see them in the daytime. But they mainly come out at night. They're called node drones. The gang stalkers have told me this. That's what they're called. They're called node drones. They use light to make shapes. Not only that, they can read your thoughts, and they can put spells on you because it's a psychotronic weapon. So yeah, they're called nodes. I looked online, there's no info on them. This is part of transhuman technology too, because they can live as a hologram as well. They use these nodes to do that too. Along with satellites too. But so what I mean by a hologram, Star Trek. Yeah, they can actually live as a hologram. Kevin Christian calls them hologram broadcast, because that's what it is. It's the way it's being broadcasted out, anyways. So what they do is put an EEG headset on their head, and this puts them into a sleep state, and so therefore they can come out of their physical body and live as this hologram broadcast. And they can go anywhere in the world. They can walk through your house and through a wall. They can walk through you. They're not, they're not bounded by the laws of this natural physics. They can even go into other dimensions. So yeah, so that means when you die, they still will fuck with you. Yeah. But anyways, I wouldn't even. I don't really care about. I do because they annoy me, and they piss me off because they're like spoiled little brats. Spoiled brats, but I don't let them. I'll never surrender, basically. Like what they want you to do. They want you to cry. They want you to feel so isolated, and they want you to feel like there's no hope for you. But no, fuck that. But anyways, so after after these instances of my neighbor responding to my thoughts, that Halloween on 2022, that's when it came out, because we were arguing and shit, and they were responding to my thoughts, and then I'm just like, okay, and then I remembered synthetic telepathy. Oh, okay, this is what it. Okay, they have synthetic telepathy, because yeah. Anyways, and so yeah, we argued all fucking night. Like I got home about 12 a.m. We argued to like 4 or 5 in the morning. Like not literally. Like it was crazy, because that's what they do. They just they harass you till you just it's stupid. Anyways, and then I left later that evening, walking out the apartment. As soon as I walk out, my gang stalking neighbor, her and her family, they were out too, and they were in the hallway as well. As soon as I walk behind her, she smiles at me like this smile, like, you know. So anyways, but too, she would before then she was nice. When she see me in person, before those times, she would speak and greet and stuff like that, and I would speak back. But anyways, and a person before me, or that was in the apartments before me, told me the same thing, that that's what she did. She would pick out people she didn't like, and she would gang up on them, and she would have the entire apartment dislike you, and that's exactly what she did with me. Anyways, so a couple months go by and stuff, and then I really had it. Like one day they tell me, I was just thinking to myself, and then one day they tell me, oh, you've been on national, you were put on national TV, and because I felt like, because I could feel across the wall, because they were the next apartment, that there was some kind of equipment that they had too. Anyways, and then so next day I watch a porn video, just laying in bed, just trying to relax, watch a porn video, and then they tell me, oh, you were watching porn on national TV. You're gonna go to jail for a long time. If you whatever job you want, you're not gonna get. You're screwed. And then so I kind of just was like fuck. Later that night, I was sitting in the middle of the floor, just thinking. And then one of the gang stalkers, this guy, who I think, and I'm gonna get to that, was like, you worry too much. Anyways, this is white guy. He kind of sounds country a little bit, but anyways, I'm thinking they're the same guy, which is another one of my gang stalkers, who's a cop. Anyways, they sound the same, but sometimes one can sound a little bit more country, because I was talking in my head, and then he would say, "You talk too much, nigger," and I'm like, "You sound hella country." But then sometimes, I don't know. I'm thinking they're the same person, or you know. Anyways, along with this hologram, um, I've seen them in their hologram forms. They've even came in their hologram forms, and they were teaching me yoga, which is kind of weird. You would think, oh, a gang stalker teaching you yoga, but it was for a live stream, of course. But yeah, I was doing yoga in the middle of a parking lot with the hologram, with one of my gang stalkers in their hologram form, and the other two, the cop came in his hologram form too, because earlier that day, I was in a dumpster area of an apartment, which has a closed room, and I was just there all night because I didn't want to be out on the street and fall asleep, because I had my legs run over by a bus. Anyways, um, a few hours later, they came in their hologram form, and when they come in their hologram form, they can come as human or invisible. It's been said that if you can see these holograms, you're highly psychic, or you're psychic. So I guess I am. Well, I am. So, um, so yeah, right out of nowhere, they can just pop up, sit next to you in their hologram form, and you can see them as they're human, like as straight flesh, but it's not flesh, and you can see them as like a ghostly like form, which I've seen too. It's all sent from a satellite. So, anyways, yeah, um, and I've been kidnapped by them. Like a month or two prior, my gang stalker cop told me, this cop gang stalker told me I was gonna have to do a skit, because that's what they do. They live stream your life and make skits, or make movies of you, or videos of you, basically movies of you on the dark web. Anyways, I was told by him that I was gonna have to mimic or copy this black guy that was going to an interview, a software or tech interview, um, in North San Jose. And anyways, that I was gonna have to copy him, and with his grandkid or his grandson there at the light rail station. I was told that um, he was going there, and one light rail appeared and another one appeared, and I guess he missed it or something. I don't know. But anyways, um, this was a month prior. They told me this, and then that day, um, um, I was asking someone if they were trying to do something that morning, handle some business. And then this girl at Jack in the Box was like, "Oh, he's going to do that tomorrow." I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. But anyway, she ended up buying me some food and stuff and giving me a blanket. So I was like, cool, because this is when I was on the streets. And but that's what she was talking about, the skit. Anyways, so I stayed up all that night, and I fell asleep in front of a restaurant on the grass. As soon as I fell asleep, I felt someone picking me up. There's this white guy had my feet, and this other person behind, had the rest of my body, and they were picking me up. I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "You'll be all right." And then I just fell back asleep, not because I trust them or anything. They were like, "You'll be all right." And I was just passed out to then. So basically, they took me to wherever they took me, and they dressed me. They put a fucking like scarf over me, and then I was on the bus. That's all I remember. So I was on the bus, and then I got off to get to the light rail, because I remembered that, yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. They took my phone. Yeah. Anyways, so of course I didn't want to do it, but I was like, okay, I really have to now to get my phone back, because they stole my phone twice. They stole my phone twice, and they gave it back to me, like a day or two later. Anyways, so I do the stupid skit, and as soon as the other light road comes, here's grandson. So like, take it off, take it off. It means take the scarf off, but I didn't, because I had to kiss their ass in order for me to, you know, to get whatever, you know, to get through through this. So, anyways, um, after the skit, I go take care of my business. I'm asking them later, and they said I had to take care of, I had to get some for them too. Um, anyways, I had to get some items for them too. I'm not gonna. Anyways, um, so I did all day, but I didn't do it exactly the way they wanted me to. Anyways, so I never got my phone back this time. But just the thought of me knowing I was kidnapped, you know, they could have killed me. You know, you still can kill me. They can kill me remotely from, you know, their location. And while I'm at home, they can they can microwave my brain. I think that may happen sometimes, but they're making money off me. I'm a revenue source for them. You know, which I'm tired of being. You know, they're profiting off of my life, making movies of my life, um, which is really, you know, of course, having my thoughts broadcasted to the entire world. I hate, but I've learned to live with it. But I really, really hate them making money off of me. At one time, one of them said, "Oh, we got 11 million viewers." I'm like, "You motherfuckers! Imagine whatever, how many? Say they're charging $5 a pop. That's 5.5 million in their fucking pocket. Can you believe that? Yeah, these motherfuckers can make a little, you know, some money. They can live comfortable off of you while they torture you and make fun of you, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But they're making money off of you. That's slavery, and it's human trafficking. It's human trafficking because they have a copy of your EEG, you know. So that's you, you know. Everyone has a unique frequency, bioresonance frequency. So they have that. Anyways, um, and this is how they target you. This is why only you can hear them, no one else can. But while your thoughts are being broadcasted, the other people still can hear them talking to you too. So, but say you're at home chilling with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and all of a sudden or family or whatever in general, whatever. Say you start feeling their pain, whatever, like a weird pain. You know, sometimes it could be them because they can hurt you with the tech, like they have me. Anyways, only you can feel that because it's on your frequency. So like on your channel, everyone like a radio station, like a radio. Um, I can't hear the other stations because I'm tuned to this station. But anyways, so yeah, um, yeah, my gang stalking stories are probably a lot more wilder than most TIs. I'm not trying to brag. There's nothing to brag about because I don't even want to be a TI. But yeah, I doubt many of TIs have been kidnapped. Well, no, there was this one chick on YouTube. I seen her video. She said her gang stalkers had kidnapped her. I don't think they killed her because I think she made another video afterwards. But yeah. Um, yeah, so I just don't really sweat it, but I still want to talk about it, you know. Because I can make a movie, you know. I want to make a movie of this, you know, because that's what they're doing. So, you know, why not me? Why not I profit off of it, you know? Of course, I'm not a movie writer, but I want to just tell my stories to some people down in Hollywood, and then they, you know, they write the plot twist and all that shit, and I get me a little payment from that. I'm gonna work on that because I'm not gonna, you know, I have to get something, you know. I get what I want. Maybe not when I want it, maybe not when I want it, but I get what I want. Trust and believe me. And I'm not just bullshitting and talking. So, yeah. Anyways, fuck those fuckers. Uh, they're beneath me. I'm stronger than them. And yeah, anyways, I'm out.